Hey everyone, welcome to Learn English with Podcast. I'm Alan, and I'm here with my awesome co-host, Alice.
Hey there. So glad you could join us today. We're diving into a topic that I think everyone can relate to: self-talk. You know, that voice inside your head that's constantly chatting with you.
Exactly. It's that little internal commentary you hear whenever you're about to take on something big, or when you mess up and wonder what the heck you were thinking.
Right? And sometimes that voice is super supportive, like, "You've got this." But other times it's like, "You'll never be good enough." Ever been there?
Too many times. And we're not just talking about a few random thoughts here. Self-talk actually plays a huge role in shaping our emotions, how we approach challenges, and, spoiler alert, our success in life.
Yeah, it's crazy when you stop and think about it. What you say to yourself can make or break your day, your goals, and even your confidence.
So today we're going to break down how self-talk works, why it matters, and how you can turn that voice into your biggest ally.
Whether you've caught yourself thinking, "I can't do this," or you rehyping yourself up with, "I've got this, no problem," we'll show you how to shift your mindset for the better.
So get ready, because this episode is packed with insights, relatable situations, and practical tips you can start using today.
So, let's dive in.
Alright, let's kick things off with the basics. What exactly is self-talk? I mean, we've all got it, but what's going on inside our heads?
Good question. Self-talk is basically that inner voice that's running commentary on everything we do. Whether it's about the choices we make, how we feel, or even the way we see ourselves, it's always there.
It's like having a constant conversation with yourself, right? But the problem is, most of the time, we don't even realize we're doing it. We're not exactly sitting down and having a conversation, but it's happening in the background of our minds, shaping how we experience the world.
Exactly. And the crazy part? It's not just random thoughts. The way we talk to ourselves affects everything: our emotions, decisions, and even our actions. It's more powerful than we think.
So, wait, you're telling me that voice in my head actually has that much power?
Oh, 100%. That voice can either lift you up or tear you down. Think about it. When you're faced with something challenging, that inner voice will either say, "You've got this," or "You're going to mess this up." And guess what? That changes how you perform.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced that. Like, if I'm about to speak in front of a crowd, my brain starts with, "Don't mess up. Don't mess up." It's like setting myself up for failure before I even begin.
Exactly. But if you catch yourself and say, "I'm prepared. I can handle this," it shifts your mindset. That's the power of positive self-talk.
Okay, I'm starting to get it now. So, is all self-talk the same, or are there different types?
Great question. There are two main types of self-talk: positive and negative. Positive self-talk is supportive, uplifting, and empowering. Negative self-talk, on the other hand, is self-critical, discouraging, and focused on your perceived flaws.
So positive self-talk sounds like, "I can do this," and negative self-talk sounds like, "There's no way I'll ever get this right." Big difference.
Exactly. And here's the kicker: research shows that negative self-talk can trigger stress, anxiety, and even physical health issues. It's like your brain gets stuck in a loop of negativity, and it affects your mood and body.
That's intense. So, it's not just about feeling bad. Negative self-talk can actually impact your health?
Yeah, stress, depression, low energy, you name it. It all ties back to the way we talk to ourselves. But the good news is we can change it.
Okay, that's a relief. But how do we actually start changing it? How do we move from beating ourselves up to lifting ourselves up?
Well, first, it's all about awareness. The first step is recognizing the negative patterns. When you notice that voice creeping in, pause for a moment and ask yourself, "Is this helping me? Or is it holding me back?"
So, if I catch myself thinking, "I can't do this," I need to flip it, right?
Exactly. Change it to something like, "I'm still learning and I can figure this out." It's about reframing the situation in a way that empowers you rather than draining you.
Got it. So, awareness, then reframing. That's like building a new mental habit.
Exactly. And the more you practice it, the easier it gets. Over time, you'll start replacing the negative voice with a more supportive one. You'll feel more confident and more in control of your reactions.
So, it's like training your brain to be your own best friend instead of your own worst enemy.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it. Self-talk isn't something you're stuck with, it's a skill you can develop, and it can make a huge difference in how you approach life.
So, the bottom line is, if you're always thinking, I can't do this, your brain believes it. But if you start saying, I can do this, your brain starts to believe that too.
Absolutely. And that's the magic of self-talk. It's not just words, it's shaping your mindset, your confidence, and your ability to face challenges head-on.
Okay, I'm sold. I think we all need to start paying more attention to that little voice in our heads.
Definitely. Because the more positive we are with ourselves, the better equipped we are to handle whatever life throws our way.
Alright, let's take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to dive into how this all plays out in real-life situations. Stick around. Alright, now let's get into the juicy stuff, the real impact of negative and positive self-talk. It's one thing to understand the difference, but how does it actually play out in our lives?
Well, Alan, here's the deal. Negative self-talk can be like a bad habit. It creeps in, chips away at your confidence, and before you know it, you're re-stuck in a cycle of doubt and self-criticism.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we've all been there. You mess up at work or school, and suddenly you're thinking, I'm terrible at this. Why can't I get it right? That inner voice becomes like a broken record, reinforcing every mistake.
Exactly. And what happens when we keep repeating those negative thoughts? They become beliefs. You start to believe you're not good enough, and that affects your behavior. You avoid challenges because you're afraid of failing again.
So it's like a snowball effect, right? One small mistake turns into a bigger fear of failure, which then turns into avoiding any situation where you might mess up.
Exactly. And this can lead to bigger issues like anxiety or depression. Constantly telling yourself, I'm not capable, or I'll never be successful, can make you feel stuck and powerless.
So, it's not just about feeling bad for a moment, it's about how those negative thoughts shape your reality, your actions, and even your future.
Right. Negative self-talk can even affect your physical health. Stress, for example, can skyrocket when you're constantly beating yourself up. That's why it's so important to recognize it and switch gears.
So, how do we stop that cycle of negativity? How do we flip it around?
That's where positive self-talk comes in. Positive self-talk isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything's perfect. It's about acknowledging challenges and then reframing them in a way that empowers you.
Like turning I can't do this into this is tough, but I can figure it out?
Exactly. Positive self-talk helps you view challenges as opportunities instead of threats. It builds resilience, keeps you motivated, and makes you more open to trying new things.
So instead of avoiding things because of fear, positive self-talk pushes you to face them head-on.
Right? And it's not just about motivation. Positive self-talk also affects your brain chemistry. Studies show that when we talk positively to ourselves, our brain releases feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin.
That's wild. So, positive self-talk is like a mental workout that boosts our mood and energy?
Exactly. It's like fueling your body with healthy food. Positive thoughts fuel your mind, and that helps you tackle problems more effectively.
And here's the kicker. Positive self-talk doesn't just help you feel good. It actually improves performance. People who practice positive self-talk perform better under pressure because they're calmer and more focused.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be some big, dramatic change. Small, everyday moments matter. Like when you're getting ready for a presentation, instead of thinking, I'm going to mess up, you can say, I've got this. I'm prepared and I can handle whatever comes my way.
That makes so much sense. And it doesn't have to be limited to big moments, either. It's about creating a habit of self-compassion and encouragement in every area of life.
Exactly. Positive self-talk builds self-esteem, improves relationships, and even boosts your physical health by lowering stress levels and increasing energy. It's a total game changer.
So, the big takeaway here is that the way we talk to ourselves matters. Negative self-talk keeps us stuck and stressed, while positive self-talk propels us forward and builds our confidence.
Right? And while we can't always control everything that happens around us, we can control how we respond to it. Positive self-talk gives us the power to control our mindset and take charge of our lives.
So, to sum it up, negative self-talk can mess with your confidence and even your health, while positive self-talk helps you grow, stay motivated, and perform better in life.
Exactly. And remember, it's all about practicing. The more you consciously choose positive thoughts, the more natural it becomes.
Alright, folks, we'll take a quick break here. But when we come back, we'll dive into some real-life scenarios and how we can apply this to everyday situations. Stay tuned. Okay, now that we've covered the effects of positive and negative self-talk, let's talk about how we can actually improve it. So, how do we go from the constant "I can't do this" to more "I've got this"?
Great question, Alan. Improving your self-talk doesn't happen overnight, but it's totally possible with some practice. The first step is awareness. You need to notice when you're being hard on yourself.
Right? Like catching yourself when you're rethinking, "I'm not good enough" or "this is going to end badly." But how do you shift that thought?
Exactly. Once you're aware, the next step is to reframe those negative thoughts. Instead of focusing on what's going wrong, focus on what you can do about it. For example, instead of saying, "I always mess up," you can say, "I might have messed up this time, but I'm learning and improving." It's all about finding a way to make the situation more empowering.
That makes sense. So, it's like a mental reset, right? Taking those negative, limiting beliefs and replacing them with more constructive ones.
Exactly. Once you're aware, the next step is to reframe those negative thoughts. Instead of focusing on what's going wrong, focus on what you can do about it. For example, instead of saying, "I always mess up," you can say, "I might have messed up this time, but I'm learning and improving." It's all about finding a way to make the situation more empowering.
I love that. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you'd show others.
Exactly. And here's another one: focus on the present. A lot of negative self-talk comes from worrying about the past or fearing the future. When you catch yourself spiraling, remind yourself to stay in the moment. Think, "What can I do right now to move forward?" That shifts your mindset to action instead of stress.
So, instead of getting stuck in that cycle of "I've messed up before, so I'll mess up again," you focus on "What can I do now to fix it?"
Exactly. And another technique I love is using positive affirmations. These are simple, positive statements you repeat to yourself to challenge the negative thoughts. Something like, "I am capable of handling this," or "I have the skills to succeed."
That's powerful. So, affirmations are kind of like mental exercises to build resilience, right?
Yes. And the more you practice them, the more your brain starts to believe it. Over time, it becomes a natural part of your thought process.
So, improving self-talk is really about being aware, reframing negative thoughts, being kind to yourself, staying present, and using affirmations.
Exactly. And here's another one: focus on the present. A lot of negative self-talk comes from worrying about the past or fearing the future. When you catch yourself spiraling, remind yourself to stay in the moment. Think, "What can I do right now to move forward?" That shifts your mindset to action instead of stress.
Alright, folks, let's take those tips to heart. When we come back, we'll discuss how to apply them to real-life situations. Stay tuned. Well, that was a pretty eye-opening conversation, don't you think, Alice?
Absolutely, Alan. It's crazy how much of an impact our self-talk has on everything from our mental health to our performance. And the best part is we have the power to change it.
Right? I mean, we all have those moments when our inner critic shows up, but the key is recognizing it and turning it around. Like we talked about, being aware of those thoughts is the first step. Once you catch yourself in that negative loop, you can start to reframe things and make them work for you.
Exactly. And it's not about being perfect, it's about progress. No one's going to have 100% positive self-talk all the time, but every time we try to shift those thoughts, it gets easier.
And just like we discussed, practicing positive self-talk, like using affirmations or being kinder to ourselves, can truly make a difference in how we feel and act. It boosts confidence, reduces stress, and helps us approach challenges with a more open and resilient mindset.
So remember, folks, the next time you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," take a step back and ask yourself, "What can I do to make this work?" It's all about changing the story we tell ourselves.
Exactly. If we can change how we talk to ourselves, we can change our lives. So, let's practice more self-compassion, more positivity, and start moving toward the life we want.
Well said. And with that, we hope this conversation inspired you to take charge of your self-talk. It's not just about thinking positively, it's about thinking constructively and empowering yourself every day.
Thanks for tuning in, and remember, your thoughts shape your reality, so make them work for you. Catch you next time.
See you next time, everyone. Stay positive.
Thank you for listening. Keep practicing, stay confident, and remember, mistakes are part of the journey. See you next time.